Are you seeing actual measurable lift from using AI? And if so, how's that playing out? Are you seeing measurable lift from AI?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say we are for sure. Like I mentioned earlier, super lean team. The first couple deals we did, it was just a lot of work, and good work. Since we've been able to leverage Enterprise Claude and really tighten that up, it dramatically narrows for us, we don't have a team of analysts. So we were doing that work and kind of MD level work at the same time. We were able to, a lot of that basic blocking and tackling, formatting, all that kind of stuff. We may not have to hire, we thought we were going to have to hire at the end of this year. We may not have to, depending on deal flow. So I would say it's measurable to us. And, our goal is have something that resembles an FTE built out, by the end of the year.
So it sounds like it saved time, it saved hours
Mhm.
of effort, potentially to the point of a full-time employee.
It's measurable for us, but not as much as a full-time employee. It's, the most tedious work, which is, clients' data rooms as they're coming together and reviewing what's there and what's absent. Probably saves hours in that project, but we don't do that project every day of the week. But that I think is our single biggest time saving from it is the internal diagnostics. Getting an internal view of messy financials from a client where someone sent us, the years separated into different files, takes minutes to put the different files in and have compiled financials and all the ratios run. But again, we don't do that work all that often. So great big lift in job satisfaction.
Yeah, I think it gives
Also,
you
time.
yeah, I think it gives you just a running start on a lot, at least from our end as well. It still has a lot of errors. So from our side, you just gotta have that human element to review it still. But it does. I'd also argue depends how detailed you are. I think Michael, you had talked about coding and so on. So if you are able and comfortable building agents and really building out that process, I think it could be even more useful. I stop at using Claude Code enough, but copying and pasting images across chats and codes. But those folks that really can build on it beyond it can probably bring more value. And there's probably a service out there that can either teach you besides Twitter or somewhere to help you become more efficient. So that's my perspective on it.
Thanks so much. And I saw that a couple of people have joined just in the past couple of minutes. The question that we're talking through right now is, are you actually seeing measurable lift from using AI?
So I'll just
Michael,
jump in there.
Michael Stanley, you were mentioning like you guys are using Claude, but you're building your own tool within it. So can you expand on that? Like
Yeah.
what skills you need to do that? What exactly are you doing, if you don't mind?
Yeah. So it kind of came out of the wealth management side of the business. Some guys over there are pretty sharp on this type of stuff, and we're building kind of like Excel audit tools and some tools to make the outputs a lot more accurate, for lack of a better word, and to have the logic and the formula traced through spreadsheets so that you can easily look at it and understand what's happening. I kind of piggybacked on that. There's a research function inside of Claude where essentially you say research X, and it'll spit out a 10-page document that has scoured the internet and tells you all of the best practices for creating X, whether it's a banking model, a SIP, whatever it is. So then you take that, feed it back into Claude and say, use this methodology to help me create a skill to do this routinely inside of Claude. So then, it brings you back like a, 15,000 character prompt essentially that you can then store inside of Claude. So every time I hit /model, it goes and reads that prompt and does it. Now, the thing about Claude that I'm learning is like the I portion of artificial intelligence is that gives Claude some leeway to do things slightly differently every time it reads that prompt. So the thing that was happening to me was I was getting a decent product every time, but it was always slightly different. That I didn't like. And so that's when I shifted over to Claude Code. So there are portions, and you can have Claude tell you which portions they are, but there are portions that give it some latitude to make decisions. I wanted to take that out. And so then I had it write code to tell it, do it exactly this way every time. So now when I upload, the financials, one of the things I did was like, I made it ask me for a deal brief before I do anything. And so there are 25, 30 questions that I have to answer about this company before it does anything. And so after I do that, upload the financials, then I'll basically pull the code from a folder and drop it in, and then it runs it succinctly. The last piece of that I did to save myself time was I wrote a branding skill. So I took the firm brand book, I stuck it in there, and I was like, hey, when we do a sim, I want joint branding, predominantly the company's colors with some Keel Point stuff in the bottom right. If it's a teaser, it's going to be all Keel Point, totally anonymous, and kind of again went through the same process with it about doing the research report, building the prompt, loading that into Claude. And now I've developed something that I would say is super useful for me. I'm still doing a lot of tweaking on the model. As y'all know, like that's the piece. If you get that wrong, it's problematic. So what I was getting from Claude was so in depth and so large that it was almost impossible to review the entire thing. And so I'm in the process of kind of chipping that down to something that is solid that I can build on that's understandable.
Super helpful. So you started in like co-work, and then you said, I want something that's has less discretion. So then you went over to you built a code and
Yeah, and I actually built the code in co-work. So
okay.
we're not our IT guy and I have become good friends over the past couple months. But he's like, hey man, I can't release code to everybody because God knows what will happen. So I actually had the Python code written in co-work. And then the research thing, if you're in the chat, or sorry, I can't remember I'll have to look through and find it, but basically inside of the app, you can select the research function to kind of start on the path of what best practices are for any given product.
It's in the skills
Thanks.
side, right? If I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
if you just do the
Yes.
backslash skills, add the skill or plugins as well, and
Mhm.
it does a pretty good job.
This is amazing. What I'll do is I will share out an attendee list after this meeting, and then you could connect with one another on some of these kind of deeper topics. Sounds like Michael has the technical skills that we all wish we had. So,
No, it's all on survival.
Jordan, I think you had a question or a comment.
No, I was just going to make a comment. Look, we usually carry and we're trying to use it everywhere. And I feel like no matter how many classes I take that are AI in general, and how many classes I take that are AI specific, just for Claude or just for Chat GPT, I feel like I'm always learning, and every time I feel like I'm getting to second grade instead of first grade, I'm back at kindergarten because everything's happening so fast, right? So we're trying to use it in every aspect. We've already gone from hiring 2 analysts to hiring 1 analyst, so about 120 grand a year savings. We're trying to pump that back into the AI space and learning as we go. So one thing is we're fortunate. We're in Arizona. We got ASU in our backyard. And ASU has programs in artificial intelligence and degrees that they're offering, and just like they were cutting edge for entrepreneurial programs. And so instead of having 2 to 3 interns that were all, first year, second year business finance students, we've been getting 2 to 3 of them and 2 to 3 computer IT AI kids, and I will tell you they are like gold. So Michael, I applaud you for doing what you're doing, and I feel like the old guy and the brain's concrete and it's not a sponge anymore. But these kids come in and the value they add is incredible. And so for our presentations, for our buyer lists, for financial modeling, for everything, they're taking the business finance kids work product and making it 100 times better. And that's factoring into every aspect of our business. And so now, even on the business development side, I've been using it. That's a lot of my role, and I've been doing it. And now our pipeline is so robust that I'm getting rid of one analyst and probably hiring 2 more VPs, because you still need the human touch on finalizing the model and talking to the client and dealing with the prospective buyers. So just like, for whatever it's worth, just like I'm learning about Rogo and I didn't even know that existed, so shame on me. But those get those AI first, second, third year college students, pull them in as interns. They are a gold mine. So that's all I wanted to add.
That's super helpful, Jordan. They're used in the computer sciences. Is that their category that you're pulling from?
They're AI. They're business AI.
Business AI kids.
Even better than computers. So if you just search like ASU, and our interns, especially in the summer, come from all over the country, and we let them work for us remotely during fall semester, spring semester. But just search for ASU AI business programs, and you can get on the chat board. I'm happy to help you get on their chat board internally.
I just connected with you on LinkedIn, so
all right,
I'll reach out for you.
But I'm telling you, these guys are so much. It doesn't matter what I think I'm learning and how many weekend hours I spend on it. These kids come in and just blow it all away.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, Jordan, you mentioned you're not going to hire an analyst. You probably will hire another VP or two. I think Michael said at the start of this portion, he's saved close to a full-time employee worth of time. So that's definitely, I think, a theme that's jumping out here is just very significant time savings from AI.